My second job out of university, I joined a CPA firm and I got into the auditing side of it. And one of the things I loved so much about auditing was that you got to go to so many different kinds of businesses, so many different industries, and you got to meet the entrepreneurs, the founders, and have lunch with them and dinners. And I thought it'd be really interesting to get some insight on a lot of really good, successful entrepreneurs. And I would say probably about my second audit season, I started to notice a trend in a lot of these entrepreneurs that I was doing these audits for. And what I learned was something that really was completely opposite of what I've learned, what I've been taught all of my life. And it was actually really a strange thing. What I learned was big success and big intelligence don't go hand in hand. And I know what you're thinking. Well, they must be really intelligent to be that successful. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what all these years, what I always thought. I was raised that you study hard, make good grades, and work hard, and you'll be successful. But I've learned big success and high intelligence a lot of times wasn't the case. I'm Curtis Mulberg, and that's what we'll cover in this episode of An American Entrepreneur. So this big success and high intellect, what I learned, doesn't go hand in hand. In other words, I saw so many very successful businesses that intelligence really had nothing to do with it. And usually, as I went from audit to audit to audit over a lot of years actually, I've learned that just about all businesses fall in one of four categories. The first category would be your inherited business. These businesses usually, they've been around a long time, and maybe their grandmother or grandfather started the business, passed down to the mom or dad, and the mom or dad passes it down to the son or daughter. These businesses, you can spot these really quick. A lot of times you will not meet the owners. They're usually absentee owners, and you'll only get to know the people that are running the company. And those were pretty boring, for the most part anyway. The second category of business would be something like the founder would have a family or friend in a position of power or high influence, such as maybe being on a city council or being the mayor, and could circumvent business to their relative. That was pretty common, and those businesses usually were not old businesses. They were usually pretty new businesses, and they were usually successful very quickly. And also, too, they would have a lot of times one customer, which would be that city or municipality that business operated in. Another example of this would be, I saw a business where this one guy, his uncle was the general manager of 3 very large office buildings. Anytime a new tenant needed any kind of finish out work, he would highly recommend his nephew's construction company, talking about their great prices and their great work, and they highly recommend them. These are, I call, unfair advantages. And hey, business isn't fair, and I also believe that, you should take advantage of any unfair advantage because that is business. So the third category would be the person that was just in the right place at the right time. I've seen that many times. It's just like winning a lottery. And even the entrepreneur themselves realizes they were in the right place at the right time and met the right people, obviously, of course, too. And I remember doing some work for 3 guys, and they had a very, very successful business. And they were telling me the story about how they started a business, and they all 3 worked together at a prior business, and 2 of them were going to go to lunch and discuss this new venture. And this other guy just happened to go with them. And they were friends, but the third guy really wasn't intended to be a part of this business. And the initial two guys were, as they were having lunch, they were talking about this business. And the third guy said, "What about me?" So the initial first two guys looked at each other and thought, "Sure, okay, why not?" So this guy is now a multimillionaire in a very successful company, but he was in the right place at the right time. Your fourth category, that's your true full-blood entrepreneur. These men and women had a dream, they had a goal, and they stopped at nothing. They chased it and they built their company. And these are the ones that are really the most fascinating ones. They can tell you some really cool stories, and it's great to see their products and their services. A lot of times you'll see people, they'll go to college, they graduate, and they get a really nice paying salary, but they're not willing to walk away from it. They're not willing to take that risk. And an awful lot of times, I would see a lot of these really successful entrepreneurs, but they only had a high school diploma, no college degree. And they just weren't happy with the way their life was going. And again, like I said, a lot of them had nothing to lose and everything to gain, so they went for it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, as I mentioned, so many people get comfortable with their six-figure salary and they're just happy and that's all they're ever going to do. Now, the big reason why I'm sharing this story is because here just recently, and I've had it happen many times, I was talking to a guy and he was telling me about some of the ideas he had and how he always wanted to start a business. And I looked at him and I said, "Well, why don't you?" And he actually said, and it's amazing to me how many people have said this, they say something to the effect that, "Well, I'm not that smart," or "I don't know anything about running a business." And I have to tell these people that I've seen so many very extremely wealthy individuals starting businesses or being a part of businesses or being in the right place at the right time. But I tell them that you don't have to be very smart to run and operate and be a successful business owner. One of the things I've noticed is they understand the fact that they get people, they surround themselves with people that have the expertise they need to catapult their business. Another example, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but this one guy, he dropped out of college actually. He just had enough of it. And he started a junk removal business. He started out of his parents' house. He had a beat up truck and he had $700. And this guy relentlessly built a business and now he's got franchises all over the country. So when you see these people with huge, big success, you know, some guy driving around in a Lamborghini or somebody driving around in a Bugatti, don't think these people are highly intelligent, super talented, and they have any special skills or abilities that are any greater than you or I. Well, I hope this video encouraged you and added value. If it did, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I'm Curtis Mohlberg, and I'll see you again soon on another episode of An American Entrepreneur.